fantastic. Obviously, she's very attractive, very cute, but her views, her eliteness, her like, I know what's right and you don't, and now you want to apologize, bro. This is how the world works when you get on social media.
A Broadway actress who issued a post saying, F Biden supporters. May Biden or Kamala never have a moment's peace. That person would be fired so fast it would make your head spin. They wouldn't last one more minute in any Hollywood role. This is truly like, she has to go. I'm sorry, Disney. She has to go. And you're going to put out a Disney film with Snow White, a beloved American character, with a woman who hates more than half the country, the half that just elected Donald Trump. This is an incredible pivot point right now. We'll see which way the woke Disney decides to go.
Pay your writers, pay your actors. I have residual checks that would shock you.
Rachel Zegler has made a surprising turn, backtracking on her previous fiery rant against Trump voters and vowing to steer clear of political commentary in the future. However, rumors are swirling that the move may come too late. Insiders claim Disney executives are quietly distancing themselves from the Snow White star following months of controversy. With whispers of mounting tensions and a $200 million production at stake, many wonder if this is a desperate attempt to salvage her reputation or the end of her Hollywood fairy tale. As the scandal deepens, Zegler's career might be hanging by a thread.
Of Snow White is different, and it's more of a 2022 version of Snow White. What did you mean by that?
I mean, the original cartoon came out in 1937, and very evidently so. There's a big focus on her love story. With a guy who literally stalks her.
Yeah.
Weird.
Super weird.
So we didn't do that this time.
Disney, the master of storytelling, now finds itself tangled in a narrative it never anticipated. At the heart of the storm is Rachel Zegler, once a rising star chosen to breathe new life into Snow White. What seemed like a groundbreaking casting decision has since spiraled into controversy, leaving many wondering, can Disney turn this around before it's too late? Let's break it down. When Zegler was announced as Snow White, the decision was hailed by some as overdue progress, celebrating the casting of a Latina actress in one of Disney's most iconic roles. Others, however, criticized it as trend-chasing, deviating from the spirit of the beloved 1937 classic. For longtime fans, reconciling this bold new direction with the nostalgia of their childhood fairy tale proved difficult. The controversy intensified when Zegler publicly dismissed the original film as outdated and described Snow White's love story as weird. She promised a modern portrayal, no prince, no romance, just a focus on independence and leadership. While some praised this feminist take, others viewed it as Disney stripping away the heart of the story for the sake of staying trendy. To them, Snow White wasn't just about romance. It was about magic, hope, and timeless storytelling that defined Disney's legacy. Then came further changes. Rumors that the Seven Dwarfs would be completely reimagined only fueled the backlash. Fans who had embraced live-action remakes like Cinderella started to feel that Disney wasn't simply updating classics, but rewriting them entirely. Snow White had become a battleground for debates over Disney's new creative direction. Zegler's rise from casting controversy to lightning rod status took a sharp turn when she plunged into political discourse. Following Donald Trump's re-election campaign, she posted a fiery Instagram story targeting not just the former president, but also his supporters. Her blunt statement that Trump and his supporters should never know peace went viral, sparking immediate backlash. Conservatives condemned her comments as an attack on millions of Americans, many of whom overlap with Disney's core audience. The hashtag boycott Snow White trended online, with calls for her removal from the role. Even moderates found her tone unsettling, seeing it as another example of the divisive rhetoric people are weary of. Progressives were divided. Some applauded her bold stance, while others questioned whether the statement did more harm than good. With a $200 million production at stake, Disney now faces a critical challenge. Can they distance themselves from the controversy and salvage Snow White, or will this tale mark the end of a Hollywood fairy tale for both the actress and the studio?
actress Rachel Zegler only a few days ago decided to tell every single person that had a different political opinion than her,
may Trump supporters and Trump voters and Trump himself never know peace.
Every time we check in on Disney's upcoming Snow White remake, somehow things get even worse than they were before.
This woman thinks that, half of America, more than half of America, shouldn't live in peace.
Hello, Disney. You're going to have to redo your film again because this woman is a pig.
There are growing calls tonight for Disney to fire Rachel Zegler, the star of its widely anticipated Snow White remake. It's because of an anti-Donald Trump post she made after the election, writing, quoting here, "May Trump supporters and Trump voters and Trump himself never know peace." Zegler is now apologizing. She writes in a new post, let my emotions get the best of me, and I am sorry, contributed to the negative discourse.
But apparently telling Rachel Zegler to behave normally just isn't an option either. So the other day, in response to the presidential election, Zegler had a very public meltdown on her Instagram stories. She wrote, quote, "F you, Donald Trump." And she proceeded to insult the 75 million Americans who voted for him, quote, "I find myself speechless in the midst of this. Another 4 years of hatred, leading us towards a world I do not want to live."
Disney, the ultimate storyteller, now finds itself caught in a tale of chaos and controversy it never saw coming. At the center of this storm is Rachel Zegler, the actress once celebrated as a groundbreaking choice to portray Snow White. What began as a promising role has spiraled into a public relations nightmare for both Zegler and Disney. Rather than stepping back, Zegler doubled down following her initial political remarks. She continued to target Trump supporters, accusing them of enabling harm and blaming Elon Musk's platform, X, formerly Twitter, for aiding Trump's re-election campaign. For Disney, this created a significant PR headache. The company, long known for its politically neutral stance, was suddenly dragged into a firestorm it didn't ask for and seemed ill-equipped to handle. The silence from Disney was deafening. Unlike previous controversies, such as Gina Carano's firing over less inflammatory social media posts, Disney took no action against Zegler. The perceived double standard was hard to ignore. Carano was dismissed within days, while Zegler faced no apparent consequences. Critics accused Disney of hypocrisy and bias. This wasn't the first time Zegler's outspoken nature landed her in hot water. She had previously criticized the marketing of West Side Story, further cementing her reputation as a polarizing figure. To some, her unfiltered personality was refreshing. To others, it was exhausting. When Zegler eventually issued an apology, it did little to mend the damage. Her statement emphasized that emotions had gotten the best of her and called for peace and understanding. However, instead of diffusing the situation, the apology came off as cold and calculated. Critics slammed it as robotic and insincere, a classic "I'm sorry if you were offended" non-apology. Social media erupted with accusations that the statement was a PR-crafted deflection rather than a genuine attempt to make amends. Memes mocking the apology spread quickly, further deepening the divide between Zegler and audiences. The controversy spilled beyond Zegler's public image, casting a shadow over the entire Snow White project. Already facing skepticism, the live-action remake became a lightning rod for criticism. Fans were divided over creative decisions, including the reimagining of the Seven Dwarfs as a diverse group of magical companions, a change made after Peter Dinklage criticized the portrayal of dwarfism in the original story. The move backfired, with advocates accusing Disney of erasing opportunities for actors with dwarfism and longtime fans lamenting the loss of the dwarf's charm and whimsy. The release of the teaser trailer only fueled frustration. It amassed over 1.3 million dislikes on YouTube, with fans criticizing everything from the visual effects to the perceived disconnect from the original film. Behind the scenes, reports of costly reshoots, creative disagreements, and delays painted a picture of a production in chaos. Disney reportedly poured millions into salvaging the project, desperate to avoid a flop. With a $200 million budget, the film would need to gross at least $600 million just to break even, a daunting task amid mounting boycotts. The backlash against Snow White reflects a broader trend. Fans are losing patience with Disney's live-action remakes. While early successes like Cinderella and The Jungle Book struck a balance between honoring the originals and adding fresh takes, recent efforts like The Lion King and Mulan have been criticized for feeling hollow and overly calculated. As Disney faces growing skepticism and an uncertain future for Snow White, one thing is clear: the company is at a crossroads, and audiences are watching closely to see whether it can find its way back to the magic that made it a storytelling giant.
Anyone who voted for him posting on her Instagram that there'll be another 4 years of hatred leaning us towards a world I don't want to live in, claiming that it's leading us towards a world that will be hard to raise my daughter in. And she went even further, warning followers to avoid using Elon Musk's X platform because he supported Donald Trump. Look, she did later apologise for her comments, but it's certainly not the smartest marketing move ahead of this film.
No, I mean, it's a great strategy, putting out your leading actress to go ahead and piss off half of the American population and potentially causing a huge backlash from it.
Apparently someone at Disney made a call. Somebody at Disney probably made a call to Rachel Zegler and said, hey, you need to shut your fucking mouth because you are destroying this movie and our reputation when we can't afford this.
She tried to make Snow White really woke, and there was a huge backlash from that. Well, unsurprising.
Career off of just criticizing things. She's always aggrieved about something. They agree with you on this issue. Find something else to criticize, please.
Because of Zegler and because of her hideous poison and the poison of wokeism that sort of like bled through the project. Look at this.
That is a red flag, just mentally, from a mindset point of view. I would love to live in this world, even if Kamala Harris.
They will fire Gina Carano just for being conservative and sharing conservative values, but then you have Rachel.
Zegler also wrote, there is a deep, deep sickness in this country that is shown in the sheer amount of people who showed up for this man who threatens our democracy.
Endorsements that anyone actually cares what they have to say about this stuff. Because they should. Like, we don't need to hear from actors and artists about who your political candidate should be. You know, it's you're not qualified to have opinions on this stuff, and you shouldn't be trying to like direct people to vote a certain way. You know, for these people, they're there to entertain us. They're not there to lead us.
I think she's an idiot. She's one of the most unlikable people in Hollywood, and that speaks volumes because there's a lot of unlikable people in Hollywood. But she took it to a whole different level. And you are working for Disney. You're working for a company that is trying to cater to, well, should be anyway, trying to cater to families. Now you have this landslide election from President Trump, and there was no way this was going to go over well.
They're talking about all the other major Disney studio productions that are coming out. This is what's coming in. They're telling this to analysts and shareholders. And for the second time in a row, they have not mentioned the live action remake of the movie that put the Disney company on the frickin' map in 1937. This is just... I don't think this movie's going to happen.
Here's a refined and engaging rewrite of your content, streamlined for clarity and impact. Disney, long revered as the ultimate storyteller, finds itself navigating a storm it never anticipated. At the center of this chaos is Rachel Zegler, a once rising star chosen to bring new life to Snow White. What began as a groundbreaking casting decision has spiraled into a public relations nightmare. Initially celebrated for breaking barriers as a Latina actress stepping into an iconic role, Zegler's journey quickly turned contentious. Her comments dismissing the 1937 film as outdated and criticizing its love story as weird, alienated traditional Disney fans who cherish the original's innocence and charm. Zegler promised a modern version of Snow White, focusing on independence and leadership rather than romance, a bold move that divided audiences. The controversy deepened when Zegler waded into political discourse, launching fiery social media posts targeting Donald Trump and his supporters. Her blunt statement that they should never know peace went viral, igniting outrage across the political spectrum. Critics accused her of alienating a significant portion of Disney's core audience. Calls for a boycott of Snow White spread online, placing both Zegler and Disney under intense scrutiny. Disney's silence was conspicuous. Unlike previous incidents, such as Gina Carano's swift firing over less inflammatory remarks, Zegler faced no immediate consequences. This perceived double standard fueled accusations of hypocrisy, further straining Disney's relationship with its audience. Zegler's subsequent apology, only made matters worse. Critics slammed her statement as insincere and robotic, framing it as damage control rather than genuine reflection. Social media lit up with accusations that the actress was deflecting blame rather than taking accountability. Memes mocking the apology proliferated, cementing the perception that she was out of touch. The fallout extended beyond Zegler's personal image, casting a shadow over the entire Snow White project. Fans were already skeptical about creative choices, including the reimagining of the Seven Dwarfs as a diverse group of magical companions, a response to actor Peter Dinklage's criticism of the original portrayal of dwarfism. The move backfired, with advocates accusing Disney of erasing roles for actors with dwarfism and longtime fans lamenting the loss of the dwarf's whimsical charm. The teaser trailer's release added fuel to the fire, amassing over 1.3 million dislikes on YouTube. Fans criticized everything from the visual effects to the perceived disconnect from the original film. Reports of costly reshoots and creative disagreements painted a picture of a production in chaos. With a $200 million budget, the film faces an uphill battle to break even, let alone become a hit. The Snow White controversy underscores a broader issue. Disney's struggle to balance modern updates with the timeless magic that made its stories beloved. Fans increasingly feel that the studio prioritizes messaging over storytelling, alienating those who once cherished its films. Recent live-action remakes like The Little Mermaid and Peter Pan and Wendy have underperformed, with audiences criticizing them as uninspired and overly calculated. The growing discontent extends beyond films to Disney's theme parks, which have seen declining attendance amid complaints that the magic feels more corporate than family-friendly. Trust between Disney and its audience is eroding, with fans questioning whether the company is still listening to what they love. Zegler's once promising career now hangs in the balance. Industry whispers suggest that she is becoming a liability, with rumors of projects quietly dropping her from consideration. Disney's reluctance to publicly defend her speaks volumes. In Hollywood, likability and marketability are everything, and Zegler's growing reputation as a PR risk is making her an increasingly unattractive option. As Disney approaches the release of Snow White, the damage is undeniable. What should have been a celebration of a beloved classic has become a cautionary tale about alienating audiences. For Disney, this isn't just a remake. It's a test of whether the company can reconnect with its audience, or if it has lost its way. One thing is clear: Snow White is no longer just a fairy tale. It's a mirror reflecting the growing divide between Hollywood and the people it hopes to entertain. Whether Disney likes what it sees remains to be seen.